this whole question of we've got to attack because this particular person has terrible weapons, which is what we were told about Saddam Hussein, and he obviously was prepared to use terrible weapons against people. I think we need to ask a number of questions. You know, who supplied them with weapons? How long have they had them? Were they okay when they were back in that side of the war, as the British and Americans were with the Iran-Iraq war, where they backed Saddam against the Iranians and wanted the Iraqis to win? How long have they had them? And how many allies of the West also have these kind of weapons, and nobody says anything? I mean, every year there was an arms fair at the Excel Centre in East London, where these people quite brazenly go around selling these absolutely atrocious weapons of various descriptions. That had a lot of weapons which also are about repressing your own internal demonstrators. You know, so all of these, it seems to me, any civilised world, we wouldn't have any of these being sold. We wouldn't have the arms industry as one of the major industries in Britain today, and all of those things, I think, would be much better off if we had the arms industry turn into something useful that, turn into making useful things that people could actually benefit from.
Thank you very much, Lindsey. Sami,
just to follow on about US wars, if you take all the major wars that the US has been involved in, you see that they have been based on a pretext which mobilized the public to support that war. And later on transpires that the pretext was a complete fabrication. Even the Vietnam War actually was based on a big fabrication that North Vietnam attacked an American ship in the Gulf of Tonkin. And that proved to be a complete lie. So the entire Vietnam War was started also on a lie. Similarly with Iraq's and the Syria pretext and Grenada and Cuba, the Bay of Pigs attack on Cuba, all their invasions and attacks in Central America. So you could go through the history of these wars and you would see that every one of them was built around creating public opinion in support of that war. That is why the role of Stop the War is important, to counter that type of deception and lies and spread the objective reality to people. I know it's difficult when you have the BBC and ITV and Sky, and these are mountains of propaganda machines. But one should not despair. I think with ingenuity, with the internet, with the demonstrations, meetings, and so on, the truth does reach the people, and people will become much more aware about future wars. Thank you.
people here, you at the back, and then you at the front.
Me, yeah?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I came in there, so I don't know if it's been mentioned, but every single chemical weapon, all the chemical weapons Syria has, was supplied by Britain and sold by Britain. It's a point of information. One of information everyone should know.
Thank you. You're at Saxon.
Yeah, just on the stopping Cameron and Obama actually going to Windsor. I mean, people say, and in a way quite rightly, that there are a number of factors that ensured this happened, which include, obviously, over time, kind of heroic resistance of people in the Middle East and Central Asia and so forth against the US and the Western powers, and also includes big divisions in the establishment over the issue of whether to attack Syria. But they can't be reduced to that, because the fact of the matter is, I do think that public opinion, and therefore the kind of anti-war effort over the last few years, was decisive in the end of the day. The fact of the matter is, it's almost like some of the journalists who try and deny this are sort of counting this out. Cameron wanted to go to war. He put the resolution to Parliament because that week he wanted to participate in the launching of an attack, and it wasn't actually immediately splits in the establishment that stopped that. It was the fact that the MPs didn't vote for it, and the reason the MPs didn't vote for it was because they were feeling the heat from their constituencies. And that's actually true in Congress as well. In the US, you heard these congressmen and women saying, we may want to do this, but what we're getting from the ground is that people don't want us to go for it. And I do think that was the decisive factor. And this is a great example. Actually, we've seen an example in the last week about how the right-wing press don't always get their own way with the attack on Miliband, which has spectacularly backfired. But Iraq and the whole war on terror is a fantastic example, Sami was talking about, of the way in which the media try and win people's hearts and minds, but on this issue, they failed and we won. Fully 75% of the British population were against an attack on Syria, and in fact were against any further foreign policy interventions overseas in this kind of a way. So that's a fantastic, that is something to celebrate, and it's something that we need to explain to people when they feel pessimistic and demoralised. Just one other little thing, which is that, sorry, it's not little at all, it's actually crucial. The fact of the matter is, I don't believe, Cameron's one thing here, and maybe the British are they're going to find it very difficult to go back to war in the near future. The US is a different question. For me, it's just not a possible option for the US ruling class to say, okay, we're going to rein it in for the next few years. The stakes are too high. The competition with China, the competition with other regional powers, mean they are going to have to get back onto the front foot over these kind of interventions. And I think what you've seen over the weekend, 2 raids using US Special Forces, one into Libya, one into Somalia, that is a statement of intent by Obama. He wants to get back to a situation where he can launch these foreign attacks and as soon as possible launch foreign wars again. And so we've got to stay mobilised.